mix, we will realize much of what we confuse as differences is only in the way of terminology. So we don't hang our hats on what makes us different, yet embrace on what makes us the same. So let's get to the business at hand. Welcome to our weekly Buku Community Zoom business meeting. As you know, Buku stands for Black Unity Conference Universal. This is our weekly business meeting where we come together and share ideas, strategies, and steps towards actual business establishment in our communities. So today, we have the superstars of our community on the line, and we honor them for giving us their time today to share some steps that we can take to establish business for our family, community, and nation. One of the titles of our Buku team organization is the Black Family Business Network, as we understand that all of God's creation should be recognized as one family, one community, and one nation. However, as we know, the devil and El Shaitan have been busy dividing people. So the Black Family Business Network is just one of the wings under the Black Unity Conference Universal to help our people establish business, specifically on how to get a business license, bonding and insurance, how to get a seller's permit, how to incorporate our ideas, how to get copyrights and trademarks, how to get government contracts, how to manufacture and market our ideas, and how to use networking to accelerate the promotion of our ideas. So without further ado, family, let's get to business at hand.
Greetings, family, and welcome to our. My camera doesn't want to work. My Lord. Welcome to our Buku business meeting. Today is May the 19th of 2026, and I am going to try to work on this camera. But let us get our report of how everyone has been doing for today. Where for 1 second. I don't know why I hear the echo, but okay, so yes, let us get some reports from everyone on how everyone is doing. I see our sister Francine on the line. Sister Francine, if you could share with us how this week has been for you, any milestones that you have reached or any goals that you plan this month. The jewel for the month is knowledge. And so we want to talk about each of us knowledge as defined as the facts and skills that we acquire from actual experience, emphasizing a scientific process of application and implementation. So we want to deep dive and we want to delve into how all of us apply the skills that we learn on a daily basis and also share that with our community. So Sister Francine, if you can give us how your week has been and also your input on the jewel of knowledge, we will pass you the line.
Hello. So I've had a little bit of a roadblock. My mom had a stroke yesterday, so I'm at the hospital. I'm getting ready to leave to go pick up her mail and stuff.
Okay.
I went to the Malcolm X Festival
Okay.
on was it Sunday, and
Great.
I did pick up a bunch of business cards from people, and I'm gonna. I think the best way to do it is probably take a picture of it and then text it to you or send it to email.
Okay.
And because I told them about the Buku and what you guys are doing and stuff, and so but I think you should. And I don't know all these people. I only knew a couple of them. You might want to interview them, find out if they're decide whether you want to offer them to come to the meeting or not. Let's see, what else would I doing? I ordered some stickers. This one particular sticker I made, but I was using it as a label, and I decided to order a bunch as stickers. So when you have the event, I'll have a few out there for sale or to give away. And then there was two, and I started decorating these water bottles, thermos water bottles, with a set of my stickers, and I was giving them to a couple of relatives, and but then I'm thinking of I have these bottles that I was putting stickers on.
Okay.
And already, and I have some copper bottles that I have stickers on already, so I can bring that to the event and try to sell those as well. So I'm just kind of looking for what's immediately available, so I don't have to do too much right now. And
Okay.
I just, so when I get the flyer, I'll be able. Oh, I got a call from somebody today. From some Black Therapy Girls website that I put in an ad a long time ago, and he was trying to recruit me for his for their website. I guess I have to have another conversation with him because they're in Corona, California, and so he said it's actually an all like medical Black network, and I mentioned. So we have to continue to have a conversation about what all this entails, because I don't know if he's selling a membership or he just wants to put me on there. I'm not quite sure
Okay.
what the whole thing is, but that was a surprise that somebody contacted me based on something, a promotion I did a long time ago. I don't have a paid membership from them anymore, but I guess they're just keeping the people that were listed, keeping you on their site anyway. And
Okay.
so I think that's kind of it for now. I don't have anything else to report.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, and we will urge everyone to keep your mother in our prayers. We know that with you by her side, she has a shining light and also a healer, and we'll also make sure to keep her in our prayers for her health and for a smooth recovery after the mini stroke that she had.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. Thank you, Sister Francine. That is great. Yes, we can accept pictures uh, of people in the community that you see that may benefit from the events that we have coming up. What we are doing is on June the 7th, we'll be hosting an event. It's pretty much going to be a mixer for our vendors. We want our vendors and presenters and performers to come out. We can get familiar with one another, get familiar with the Buku framework, and from there, we can prepare for the July event, which is going to be the bigger, more full day event that Buku is putting on. We are very excited about this event. And prayerfully, later on in this meeting, we can talk a little bit more about what we will be learning, what we're going to be doing. I don't know why, but I hear an echo. And I don't know where that echo is coming from. So let us continue. I see Brother Shabbat on the line with us. Brother Shabbat, if you can share with us how this week has been for you, the milestones you've been blessed to accomplish, the work that you've been blessed to do, any goals that you reached, and how those apply to our jewel of the month, which is knowledge. Knowledge is defined as the facts and skills acquired from actual experience, emphasizing a scientific process of application and implementation. So we want to dive into the jewel of knowledge and how we explore and apply knowledge in our daily lives and how we share that with other people in our community. And so we'll pass the line to Brother Shabbat.
Let me begin by saying last night we had a meeting class more or less at Joy.
Okay, you're breaking up, Brother Shabbat.
So
You're breaking up still. Oh, he is off. I know Brother Shabbat will probably be coming right back on. Okay, I got rid of the echo. So yes, all right. So we are going to continue. I think we're gonna have more members getting on the line with us. Brother Shabbat is back. And okay, go ahead, Brother Shabbat.
how is it now?
Okay, sounds great.
Okay. What I was saying was that I had a circle class last night at our Joy, with
Okay.
individuals from the Hidden University, survivors of the Hidden University. But what made
Okay.
last night more special. We invited the youth group that they have that usually meet on Monday night downstairs from us to come up and after their class and set in with us. So we
Okay.
shared our space with them and theirs with us. So that was really
Yeah.
beautiful. One of the things was on knowledge and experience and choices, for each one of them to choose from, or all three. If you
Yeah.
had to choose a parent who, not who supported you, but what to describe a parent, which in out of your mother and father, whoever caretaker,
Mhm.
explain to, how they affected your life, for good or bad,
Yeah.
and several other questions. But it was beautiful. The young folks, someone was very expressive, some was very knowledgeable, and the
Mm.
shy took a hold of some of them. So we had to, walk some of them through it, as
Yeah.
well as some of the adults, because not knowing exactly how they want to express being grown now and parents of
Yeah.
their own, it was kind of rough for some of them as well. So when it came to me, I was like, if you want the mic back later, you can get the mic back if you feel more comfortable now in speaking. Because sometimes you don't have to speak. You can pass the mic, say you'll
Yeah.
pass the
It's
mic,
true.
but it come back to you if you choose to. But it was beautiful and understanding. It had a couple of young folks there that one brought lit flooded to my heart, and tears to my eyes. They didn't drop, but it was water in my eyes the way she expressed her feelings about her grandmother, and a young man, the pain that he had suffered because of his father
Mm.
not being there, and the way he went through it. I had to pull him over to the side after the meeting, right before they left, to let him know, don't let your anger for your father take away your strength and your
Yeah.
success. Use that as fuel, because anger is just like happiness. It just depends on where you put it. It's all energy. So wherever you place it, that's what it's going to be. So turn that anger into fuel and
Yeah.
let it push you forward. But that's pretty much on for the June, a month. But other than that, it was a meeting today. I didn't make it because I know I wasn't going to be able to be there alone with the Black Cowboys founder. So I think they're gonna have it repeat on Zoom or something. I seen a flyer late,
Mm.
but I'm gonna deal with that probably later. I knew I had this meeting, then I had to go to work this evening, so I'm like, ain't no sense of me trying to make it way out there and then make it back in time, because it's not going to
Yeah.
be suffice. So I got to get back with them, and then we're setting up something for the breast cancer. It's gonna more likely it's gonna be after both of Buku's meetings,
Okay.
because she asking me when do I think we should do it. So now that we have the dates for the Buku meetings, I can get
Mhm.
with them and say, after what the second one, the Buku second event is what?
July 18th.
July 18th. Okay,
Mhm.
so I'll have it the third, or the fourth week probably
Okay.
of July. I'll figure it out afterwards. But other than that, that's pretty much been it, and just still moving forward. I got to get back with my nephew to get some more stuff printed up now.
Yeah.
So be a definite day, because what I have is it's a few pieces, but it's not enough, because I
Mm.
know individuals going to see, and then I gotta get a meeting probably this week or this weekend to set up have for print on demand with the shop. I was going to go with Printify, but because they're good, but I'd rather support my peoples. And I just found out that is the sister not too far from me over on the backside of Merritt College. She have her shop, so I'd rather take my business to her. She do pretty much
Yeah.
everything we do. Other than I don't think she give the first free month run, but still I figured because it's going to be an ongoing thing. I can work something with her, some type of bartering deal or something. So we go with that. But other than that, just continue forward motion, for
Yeah.
myself and everyone else. And the I sent you another video this afternoon
Yeah, I
with
seen that.
Ibrahim Torre, but we can get with that one some other time. But if we have time, see if we or next week attempt to show some of the property videos
Yeah.
so better understand or put them in the site where everybody can get them and do them, see them on their own. Because
Mm-hmm.
one of the young guys, the white guy, he talked about how to survey your property before you go out and buy.
Yeah.
Because you got a bunch of acres real cheap, but some of them acres may not be housable for deer to be
Yeah.
able to grow food on it, and just see, make sure it's not in the flood lane and all that, a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He just give a whole bunch of knowledge. All his videos,
Yeah.
because he don't just have that one, he have many videos that very knowledgeable. So I've been digging into his catalog a little bit, as well as Warren Buffett. I stay with Warren Buffett. That's my billionaire boy. I love him because he don't just give up his success, he give up his failures so you can
Mm.
avoid making the same mistakes he do. Unlike Bill Gates and Elon Musk, they don't want people to know they fail, so they won't
Yeah.
show you. You make some of the same mistakes they made, and Warren Buffett is not with us. So pretty much that's been it. If it's time to get back, I'll speak on it some more. And
Yeah.
is Uncle Hess here today?
He was on, but I see
Okay,
that
I'll
he
try. I'll do
fell
my
off.
best to catch him. I have
Okay.
somebody that want to meet him
Okay.
for the music store. I'll get with him, but I'm gonna get my to you right now, sis.
Okay.
Assalamu
Thank you, Brother
alaikum.
Shabbat. Wa alaikum salam. That is excellent. So beautiful. The class that you were talking about. We actually just finished a project with an organization that works with the youth. And the project is centered or it caters to Black and Brown youth. The founder who runs the program is a white woman, and she may have their best interest at heart, possibly. But she might be doing her best. But we know that the best people to deal with our youth and the issues that plague our community are going to be Black people, Black adults, and people who are safe enough and can be trusted to help the youth deal with some of those childhood struggles. I know from our team, Jamila Hanif, her entire organization, Watch Me Grow, is for people who had adverse childhood experiences and childhood trauma. And there are children who have trauma from their childhood. It could be from their parents, their grandparents, their peers. However, the angle is an angle like Brother Shabbat used. Don't make that hard in your heart, and don't make that make you have a negative, outlook on your parents. You have to learn who your parents were, what their struggles were, what were their childhood traumas that led them to be the adult that they became. But what we see in the organization that we recently worked with is that sometimes there are people who don't know how to frame things in a way that doesn't build a bigger gap between the child and the parent. And that can be very dangerous, and it can alienate the youth. And so that's something that's not advisable, especially for our community, because our community is constantly a community under attack. And so, with our youth being under attack and our family structures constantly being under attack, we have to be much, much more careful in regards to who we allow to come in and, analyze what happened in our childhoods and in our communities. But it's so beautiful because these are people who are formerly incarcerated, working with the youth, and you can really use your experiences to help the youth not go down those same roads. And that's what a parent is for. That's what, the adults around you, mentors, are for, are to help you along this journey of life. And life is a lifetime of learning. So everyone is supposed to have a mentor that has more experience than them. Even if you are 85, there's somebody 95 and they can help you walk you through life. And we're taught that age doesn't really even matter. It's what we're talking about today, this jewel of knowledge. this knowledge jewel is what matters far more than just simply your age. If you have the knowledge, then you should share it. No matter if it is an old person, a young person, a rat, cat, snake, or a dog, this knowledge will benefit all of our people. And we are confident in that. And so let us continue. Thank you, Brother Shabbat. Oh, okay. I see Uncle Hess on the line. Uncle Hess is back, Brother Shabbat. Uncle Hess, Brother Shabbat said he has someone who wants to meet you in regards to the music. And so he's going to get in contact with you for that. But if you can share with us how this week has been for you, I know the indie hookup, you all have been very busy. And so you can share with us how that has been going, any milestones that you've reached or goals that you pray to reach for next week, as well as your input on the jewel of knowledge, which is defined as facts and skills acquired from actual experience, emphasizing a scientific process of application and implementation.
Okay,
So-
well, you said a lot, so I'm gonna start with what I remember you saying.
Okay.
We're gonna start off with the jewel. Okay. I'm older than I think everybody in here in this group,
Okay.
and I will be one more year tomorrow. I had to figure out a way to throw that in there.
Yeah. Tomorrow is Uncle Hess Earth Day.
I've learned a lot from the youngsters I met online.
Yeah.
You know, as far as life experiences, I can tell you everything because
Mhm.
I've experienced it in and out of drugs and all that. But this online journey that we're doing, I need help. You
Yeah.
know, I got a few mentors around me, and then thank God for the Buku family. If I ever really needed something, I could always turn to you guys, and together we'll figure it out. And then don't be ashamed to say you don't know how. You know, that's a big thing. People's pride gets in the way. Well, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. No, ask somebody for help. You know, and
Definitely.
someone's going to help you. That's my whole journey. You know, I came online about 6-7 years ago. Now I'm pretty good. But at the beginning, along my way, people reached out to me. Man, I see you having trouble with this. Let me help you.
Mm.
Okay, help me. You know,
Yeah.
you're not going to charge me anything. No, I just want to help you.
Mm.
You know, it's a bartering system. You don't have to have money for the service. Like say, Answer One does great graphics.
Mm-hmm.
Answer One, you do that. I share it on my platform. My platform is bigger. Together, they'll see both of us.
Yep.
You know, so that's what we're doing now with the Buku family. I'm noticing a lot more people that I don't know are chiming in and leaving remarks.
Yeah.
So, and then people tell me, ah, man, that song right there, or that. It's a guy, I don't know if you looked at the comments on the video. It's a producer. He's dying to get with the crew to do some music. He says, man, I'm a producer. I love to get with y'all and do some stuff. You know, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's what's up. We can expand. You know, the eyes are on us. The growth is there. We do have another radio station, Tribe Nation Radio. It's a pretty big size radio station, and the owner of the radio station, he told me, I've been watching you. We did an interview, or Ricardo and I did an interview with them, not not us give the interview, but they did the interview.
Okay.
And he told me, I said, man, why you just now sharing all this with me? He said, because
Yeah.
I had to watch you and I see your passion and your heart. I love my mom.
That's good.
My mom died. I love her. So I fell in love with you because of the love you have for your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow. Now
Yeah.
he told me a story. He's a country singer, lead guitar. I don't
Okay.
like country, but I like his music.
Okay.
It's different. I mean, it's country, but it got some kick to it. Um, he has, like I say, has a radio station, and he has a podcast that he threw in the air that he want Ricardo and I to take it over. So, I asked him, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, you've been having this going on, and I'm seeing your likes and stuff. You liking stuff. You're not saying nothing. Now, all of a sudden, you want to reach out to me. So that was why. And then he told me the story. His mom was sick.
Okay.
He was in her room, and he said, Mom, I'm going to serenade you, because she was having trouble sleeping.
Aw.
He said he sung a song and put the guitar down and laid beside her and held her, and she died in his arms.
Oh, wow.
Like, that touched me.
Yeah,
So he
that's
said he put down he stopped performing, he stopped everything. Now, this is a guy that was getting 12.5 per show. I'm like, dang. He says, man, I opened up for this person, that person. They got 100,000, and I only got 12. And I'm like, 12 ain't nothing to sneeze at. He told me all the people he knows and everything, and he likes what we're doing. His name is Uncle Rhinoceros, but they call him Uncle Rhino. If you look in the notifications, you'll see him. He collabs with everything. Everything we do, he own it. And he got like 47,000 followers. So that's also building up both platforms, So we're doing pretty good. And I signed with a publisher.
Okay.
They're going to put the book everywhere on 100 platforms all over the world. They're going to do an ebook, an audio book, paperback, hard copy. So I talked to your dad about 30, 40 minutes ago.
Okay.
I told him, I said, look, man, this is what we do. Since you started doing them, press them up, and together we'll sell them and put that money back into Buku. So that's what we plan to do. My mom is going to sign a couple of those copies,
Okay.
and we go, and then whatever I make on the publishing that's it. But together we all gonna sell the book, and just that'll be a source of income for everything. That's the plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So
That's solid.
I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, actually. Congratulations on the new radio station. That means that y'all about to be super duper busy.
Oh my
You
God.
said you all are taking over the full station, or just you guys are just hosting your show there?
We got our show, and eventually he want us to take over his interview platform.
Okay.
He's got like over 8,000 subscribers.
Wow.
I'm like, oh,
that's
wow.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know country, but he's a name in country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think country music was started by Black people. So that
Right.
gives us comfort. But yeah, I think I like country when they sprinkle a little R&B or hip hop on top of it. So it must be seasoned with, Black style. But yeah, I know a lot of people from the country love country because they grew up with country, and Black people started it. So I'm always for the Black country stars, and you pulling out their guitar and get to singing. So that's really, really great. Yes, Brother Shabbat.
No, I just wanted to tell Uncle Hess, I have a young man that I know he's a performer. He write his own music and everything. He rap and sing. Him and his little boy, so they do their thing. I met with him again, and so he said ready.
Oh, you're breaking up, Brother Shabbat.
He's been let me know as soon as you're ready. I'll set up an interview with you and him. Now explain it a little bit for his him having this music played and stuff like that. I said, but the individual that you're gonna have to talk to that can explain it more is Uncle Hess. So I'll hook you up with him, then y'all can go from there.
Yes,
I
sir.
say, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
He's a young man. I think he's in his early 20s. And, he had a little rough life, but now he on a path. He leaving the street life behind. I told him,
Right.
don't let nobody pull you back into that lifestyle. You using the gift that you was given, because that was the same page I put him on when we first met.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that as soon as I get a chance. Then I got this other young lady. She got two female artists and a guy. And I say, well, next time we meet, we'll talk a little more, and then that way I can be able to give you some more information on them too.
Yeah.
Put all that together, put it in your hand, let you your wings fly, because I'm not looking to go on that path right now.
Right. Well, you send them to me. I got you. It's gonna make you look good.
That's
sure.
right.
All right, will do.
All right. All right. So just hit me later. I guess tonight or tomorrow I'll be in and out. But yeah, just hit me up so we can talk.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Give you the mic back, Sister Rail.
Yes, thank you, Brother Shabbat. That's excellent. Those type of connections are really good. And Uncle Hess is definitely gonna push them. So we know anytime you just gotta give him the information, and it's gonna be on every radio station globally also, which we have to make sure people know that this is global access to your music. Thank you all so much.
I told him I'm gonna give him to Uncle Hess and I'm gonna get out the way.
Yeah. Yep. Good teaching. Okay, I see Sister Shahida on the line. Sister Shahida, if you are available, if you can share with us how your week has been, some of the milestones you've been blessed to accomplish, some of your goals for this week coming up, and how all of us on the line can support you. I know that you were also there at the Malcolm X Festival. So if you are available, you can tell us a bit about that, and then your input on the jewel of knowledge. This jewel is defined as facts and skills acquired from actual experience, emphasizing a scientific process of application and implementation. So we'll pass the line to Sister Shahida.
Yes, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, that Malcolm X festival was it was really beautiful. We got to get some footage for the next video that we gonna put out pretty soon.
Okay.
For the well, because as on top of me being an artist, I'm also a poet too. I have put one of the poems on the on our Buku Oneness, and that's what we doing the gonna do a video for.
Okay.
And we got some network with a lot of good people that was really excited to see us. It was some people that remembered us from, I was passing out the flyers, And one of the girls was like, one of the ladies, she was like, "Oh yeah, I know you. You was performing in Richmond."
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "You be
That's good.
rapping." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, all praises due to Allah." So it was like, I don't know, it was a beautiful experience. And so we got that coming. And I also just spoke with this company today about this deal um with this about this documentary. I was really pleased. I ain't gonna lie, I put a smile on my face, and
Okay.
just the it just felt good to work these deals out knowing I don't have an entertainment lawyer, and I basically got to be my own entertainment lawyer and all that
Yeah.
other good stuff. But it's like, yeah, I will own all the rights to everything 100% with all of that. So it's like we working all that stuff out, but we still got some more meetings to do um about everything. But I mean, that's another good thing because it's just, you never know who really to work with when it comes to that, especially when when you're independent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just been working on that and all that, and trying to get build a team with the evolving generations and stuff, so we can get some other things that we're trying to plan for 27.
Yeah.
Really some stuff for like in back to school too, but that's not gonna be like a big, I'm not trying to like downplay it, but it's not gonna be like a
Mm-hmm.
big event. It's just gonna be a giveaway
Okay.
for back to school. But
Backpacks and haircuts.
yeah, backpack, haircuts, all that
Okay.
coming together with the brother that I met through when I was with Imani, when me and Imani had did the poetry slam. And
Okay.
but I'm trying to do something bigger, for 27. But just stuff like that. And then what was the thing about, I'm sorry, what was
Oh, the jewel.
Jewel?
Let
Yes,
me
Yes.
ask you a question before you get started.
yes, sir.
Y'all gonna do the video to Love Ain't Known?
Yes, sir. That's what we was working
Oh,
on.
hey, that's a hit right
Thank
there.
you. I
Yeah.
appreciate, man. I appreciate that, yo. That's what we was working on. We got to talk to and meet some very, wonderful people. It's just a shame that we supposed to be in that moment, but I was so much in the moment. I didn't even get a picture with Chairman Fred Jr. I didn't get the film an interview with him. But it was a lot of great, like I said, a lot of great people there. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was but yeah, we got some good footage for sure.
That's a nice one right there. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's good. Okay. Yes. The jewel for today is knowledge.
Okay. Oh yeah, knowledge. Wow, that's a beautiful one.
Mm-hmm.
That's so packed because it all. We all know, Allah is the center of every jewel, but
Yeah. Definitely.
knowledge is, wow. It's like, you see a lot. Knowledge is what brought everybody there. Speaking of that festival, there that day, and accompanied with wisdom and understanding and all of that came
Yeah.
with it, because knowledge alone, that's good, but without understanding, and without wisdom, and
Mm-hmm.
because you got to have the be able to have a discernment next to that knowledge, because you ain't go, you can learn, you can read the supreme wisdom and get all this knowledge, but you got to be able to discern when,
Right.
you're not going to be in a library talking about the black man is God.
Right.
So it's the discernment that had to come with it, which is the wisdom. But knowledge itself, I don't know. It's so
Yeah.
packed. I don't know how much, what to really say on it, but it just, You know, I just think of water when I think of it. I think of life when I
Yeah.
think of knowledge. All of these wonderful things. But I don't want to talk too much. But I hope I made sense. But yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, that makes perfect sense. And that's again the beauty of having a mentor or a parent or a guide, because then you can explore, the knowledge, and you can do so in a safe manner. And instead of, slipping up or getting drunk on knowledge, you have someone there who can say, "Hey, let me help you along the way." And that's the beauty of what we have here at Buku, because we want to build a system, an ever flowing fountain of people who can walk you through learning, walk you through the experience you have to get. You have to get all of these experiences. You have to go through the ups and the downs of acquiring knowledge, applying it to yourself. Like, you're not going to be able to skip that. But when someone is there to help you through it, make sure that you don't give up, encourage you not to get swallowed up with guilt and woe is me if things don't turn out the way you thought. That is really, really important. And we have that naturally in the system of parents, and then we have that with community. And that's why community is also so important. And we've always had that in our community, but there's definitely an effort to separate us. There always has been, and we have to make sure that we don't allow anyone to come and get in between our unity.
That's right. That made you know what you just made me think about. But when brother Dr. Wesley had asked the brother, he was like, "Oh yeah, you read the book? What you think about it?" And then the brother was like, "I have to be honest, I'm still unpacking, but you know,
Yeah.
it's very." He was like, "That's good because it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
meant for you to just to get and one read. It was meant
Yeah,
for you. You
definitely.
know, that's what that knowledge do." But yes, yes, man.
Mm-hmm. Yes, good teaching.
Excuse me, this Shabbat. I like to step in. So you said you didn't want to, you didn't know how to speak. Just come from your heart.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, cause I be messing
I'm
up.
You're
sorry,
breaking up, Brother Shabbat.
I missed what he said. It was breaking up.
Oh, Brother Shabbat.
Speak from your heart is what he said.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. This day messing, but I just want to let the sister know you speak from your heart. That's everything right there. Not just for us, for the ears that don't know you, don't know of you, you touch them. Because when you speak and when you flow, I haven't heard you rap yet, but I'm waiting to get my opportunity. I was planning on being at the event, the Malcolm event, but couldn't make it. I was tied up. But inshallah, he'll give me the day where I'm going to be there next year or whenever it come about, or whenever I get a chance to hear you speak. But just flow from your heart. There's a beautiful thing. Your soul is there. Just let it speak. You don't have to open your mouth. It'll open it for you.
Yes,
Hey,
sir. Praise
you
be to Allah.
gotta
That's a bar. Yes, sir.
you gotta listen to Love Ain't Known, family.
Yeah,
That
I
You
one
was
got
saying
there,
that.
put the link in chat.
that one there, made me think of a new saying for Buku. BUCU equals LOVE.
Huh.
Yep.
Because that's what we got here. We got a group of people that came in that we didn't know each other, but now we have the common knowledge of love, helping each other. We got a family right here. You know,
Yeah.
I'll go to an event and I know a few of the family members are there, and it's a beautiful thing, man. I remember we went to one event and Sister Africa seen my mom and I get out the car. I don't know what made her look down that street and that far.
Mm.
She started hollering, hey, brother, hey, brother. Ran across the street, ran over to us, made sure I got out the car, walked me through the crowd, and walked me to the little porta potty.
Yeah.
Uh, it had a whole bunch of roots growing out, so I couldn't get to it. She helped me get into the porta potty, waited for me, and helped me get back. That's another jewel. That's
Yeah.
love,
Yep. That's
And
love.
now I have the knowledge that anytime I go somewhere and I see family, I'm gonna get help.
Yeah.
So that's this is a beautiful thing we got here.
Yeah. That's right. Thank you, Uncle Hess. It truly is, and it's going to continue to grow because we know that what we are building is for more than just our group right now. It's for the entire world, starting with our people. And we've noticed this trend that when Black people begin to do anything, it pretty much ripples around the world. So when Black people begin to stand up for our rights and we fight for civil rights, this ripples across the world. When Black women stand up and we fight for our rights, this ripples across the world. Women across the world begin to stand up. And this is the same thing that will occur as we become more conscious, become more unified, and begin to decolonize our minds. Then that trend will also set. You see the Native American community decolonizing their mind, the Asian communities decolonizing their mind, and that's the effect that we want to have on all communities. But first and foremost, we're talking about Black people, the Black man, the Black woman, and the Black child. And then, once we get our house in order, we can go and help, the others. So today is the jewel of knowledge. This is a powerful jewel. We know that it is one of the paramount jewels that we have, because without knowledge, we don't have anything. And so we want to look at a few clips that will emphasize to us why we need knowledge, some of the things that are going on in the world right now, and then we can wrap everything up with some clips on the land purchasing, like Brother Shabbat had mentioned. We want to get us some land, and we want to gain some knowledge on how to properly do that, learn from those who went before us in purchasing land, and we can be successful by learning from their stumbles and their successes. And with all of us together, we know that we'll be successful. But first and foremost, let's see. I have so many clips. I have so many clips that we can look at, because there's just so much going on in the world today. There is no shortage of current events or activities or crimes against our community that we can discuss. But we're going to start with this clip. So let me share. Okay, so this sister is talking about modern day slavery, which we know is kicking up. It's something that has been occurring, but a lot of our people are so disconnected from what's going on that they would never know that slavery is alive and well in this country, and it is occurring every day. And we can relate that to something else that happened recently that I want to tell the family about. But let's see what our sister has to say.
Beings being paid between nothing and 52 cents an hour, generating billions of dollars every single year in the United States of America. And Louisiana just decided it wanted more. $29 million. That's what Louisiana already extracts from modern day slavery every single year. There are 13,000 unhoused people in the state right now, and a new law just made poverty a felony. The plantation is ready, and it's called Angola, named after the African country European settlers trafficked enslaved people from. The only thing missing was the bodies. What's happening in Louisiana isn't isolated, it's coordinated. While they criminalize Black poverty in the streets, they're simultaneously stripping Black people of the only weapon they had to fight back at the ballot box. On Wednesday, the Supreme Court voted 6-3 to gut Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the last remaining major protection against racially discriminatory redistricting. Within 1 hour of that ruling, Florida redrew its congressional maps to eliminate majority Black districts. Other Republican states are already moving to do the same. At the same time, Louisiana passed a law criminalizing homelessness. A first offense carries a $500 fine and 6 months in prison. A second offense, well, that's a felony, 1 to 2 years in prison with hard labor. If you can't pay for your court-mandated treatment, the bill requires you to perform unpaid labor for the government to pay off the debt. They call it the Streets to Success Act. The president of the Louisiana NAACP said it plainly. You're turning homeless people into criminals. We're going to put them in jail because they didn't have the means to make it. Now, understand where those people are going. Angola is the
6 months in
largest
jail, you can get for
maximum
being poor and
slavery
having to
prison
live on the
in the
street in
United States of
Louisiana.
America. 80% of its 6,300 inmates are Black. Angola's mostly Black inmates are still forced to pick cotton in the same fields as before slavery was abolished. The guards who oversee them are called freemen. It's always been slavery by another name, and they just voted to make sure you can't vote your way out of it. America didn't become the most powerful nation on earth despite slavery. It became powerful because of it. And the people who inherited that power have never stopped searching for a way to return to it. And they want to make America great again, just not for you. And if you didn't know, now you know.
Hey, I saw a documentary on that.
Mm-hmm.
It was deep. Oh my God.
It was it the 13th Amendment?
I don't know the name of it, but they had the prisoner and they had the guys out there picking cotton, and they showed them how they go out, where they take them to, how they got there, and everything. Matter of fact, I think it was on Netflix. I'll look for.
Yeah, it's probably the 13th Amendment. Well, it's called the 13th, but she's proving the prison system's long history of continuing slavery.
Yeah. Because they talked to 2 prisoners that were in for life.
Yeah.
And how they had reformed. One was a pastor at the church in the prison, and they was showing them going through their steps and being called for what you call it, to see if they could get out.
Yeah.
Every other year or 5 years they come up. They was showing that, and they was showing them out in the field, and it was deep. It was deep. Slavery.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all it is slavery.
Absolutely. Yes, and subscribe. Oh, you're muted.
He on the road.
Yes. We were there in the feds. You have it in the state and you have it in the feds. The brothers that had the best jobs were making about $1.20 an hour, ordering parts for military equipment. And that's what they would do all day. So they contract out that labor. When they privatized prisons, it was all part of the King Alfred plan. And we know that history. Y'all do a beautiful job on the live 3 to 5, unpackaging that. But I know you alluded to some more that you were going to touch on. And I'm hoping it's in the area of this politician, his particular position, who said we can get sweat equity out of this. Yes. Okay. Yes. And so the sister excellently, she connects the dots excellently. Everybody need to just tap into her page. She connected dots excellently all the time. But the way that she spelled that one out and connected the dots, and she was about to go even deeper on, the nerve of them to name a prison, Angola,
Right.
But it's all part of the plot. The one part that she, of course, all of our people have pieces to this puzzle, and she just needs to be brought that piece to the puzzle. Voting was not our last way. to fight El Shaitan. Voting is not our last way to fight the devil. Voting is not our last way to overcome and conquer this demon. God is. And so, you know what I'm saying? I know that may seem abstract, and we could go into dialing that up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And talk about the wave and momentum of Buku to unify the unifiers and categorize those who approach this struggle from a nationalist perspective, those who approach this struggle from a socialist perspective, and those who approach this structure from a religious perspective. Understanding religion just mean reconnect to law and logic. We're not talking about man-made religion, you know. However, the nature made by God for us is Islam. Submit to your higher self, not to no spook in the sky. You know what I'm saying? And certainly not to no mortal man, but divine man in his natural essence when he connects to the root of the universe, when he connects to that part of his self. You know, and we have a long history of scientists who establish some frameworks, some patterns for us to follow to gain access back into that part of the mind. It's all part of a divine plan of our nation scientists. And so this is what we got to understand. If you believe in a higher power, regardless to whether you're religious or not, whether you believe in a higher power, if you believe, and this is where knowledge ties in, it's just real easy. It's a real easy formula. You know, God said, because you have rejected knowledge, I'm gonna reject your children. He's been giving us guidance all along through all of these prophets. Lives were given for us, all of these messengers, where we let the devil come in and divide us one against each other, divide the Christian against the Muslim, divide, you know what I mean? And so that's the devil's job, but we fall victim to that, right? And that's why our people are fragmented and weak and consistently overcome. And so he calls us down into the valley of decision to plead with us, because it ain't no way out. He said, who can make war with the beast? You're not going to make war with the beast without Allah, the creator, Master Wallace Muhammad, the divine supreme being, the Christ, the Messiah, Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call him. You're not finna overcome this beast without him, because he the one made the beast. He the one put the beast in charge. So you're not finna beat him without Allah. You know, and so, and Allah is the one that sent all messengers, all prophets. So if you got to divide it up, twist it up, bickering against one another, ideological framework regarding religion, then you following the man-made structure. Got to get back to this Buku thing, unifying the unifiers, you know, a unified theological framework. You know, the great wedding, when the groom come back, it's a great wedding. All the brides come back to the groom. And that's all of the religions, all of the schools of thought. We have to be able to see each other as one, but it's all about God. Like that song, it's all about God. It's all about God. You know, instead of all the way live, it's all the way live too, but it's all about God. That's the only way we're going to overcome this beast. And somebody got to do the work. That's what Buku and the Buku University, searching the scriptures daily, searching to see the unifying connecting points. Where do what I say connect to what you say? Not where do what I say bump heads with what you say? Where do what I say connect to what you say? See, I'm looking to unify. And when we look to do that, when we don't hang our head on what make us different, but embrace on what make us the same in God knowledge, then we'd be able to filter that to our brothers in the nationalist community, filter that to our brothers in the socialist community. They already handling their business in the particular field that they master. You know, everybody ain't got to do the same thing. You know, we make room in assemblies. You know what I mean? It's 12 springs. All water seek its own level. Some people are going to be really anchored and inclined to the agricultural approach. Some people going to be just inclined to the ethers or the natural. You know, it's so many different, but all of that get harmonized under the flag of Islam. And Islam just means submission to your true self, to your higher self. You know, submit to the originator of the universe. Easy formula. We ended on that with knowledge. Easy formula. If it's a God that made everything, establish the formulas that uphold the 9 spheres, establish the formulas that keep the sun burning, do you think that a devil overpowered him and set up unrighteousness on the earth? And that mighty, divine, supreme intelligence that originated this universe had no idea had no idea about the devil, has no way to overcome the devil. If you believe in a God, you have to. All you got to do is walk that thing down the block. You ain't even got to walk it a mile. Just walk it down the block. Walk that idea of a belief in a higher power. Walk that just down the block. By the time your ass hit the end of the block, you will say, he got to know about this. He got to know about this. And all you got to do is look in the script. If you don't know the script, go ask the pastor, the priest, the imam. If he don't know, he needs to stop preaching. Where did God say he know the end from the beginning? And what did God say about how we gonna overcome this beast? Not no spook, not no damn lizard up under the ground. This living devil on the face of the earth raising all this hell. How we gonna overcome that? You know, and it's clear as day. He spells it out. And every one of his prophets gave us the same formula. But we let a devil come in and put a cross on, let a devil come in and put a turban on, let a devil come in, you understand me, and divide up the house. Satan say he come in a straight path and divide up the house. And then we follow a white pastor, a white Christian, a white imam, some white religion, and then wonder why we confused as hell and all divide. And so Buku got to bring back, like you said, back to the blackness. So, okay, Sajalahu.
Yes, Sajalahu, good teaching. Good teaching. Yes, that's excellent. That's what we're here to talk about as well, how we can amplify this knowledge, because so many of our people literally have no idea about these things. That's why the 13th Amendment was so eye-opening for so many people. Our people don't know. They're disconnected from this. But the Buku team is here to discuss. I see Brother Nate has his hand up, so we will go to you, Brother Nate.
Sajalahu. Assalamu alaikum to the Great Shah's master plan.
Walaikum salam to the Great Master
Believers inside of the panel, I say my love and respects and my blessings to you. I want to say Ashamadi for my absence and tardiness. I'm always here in the spirit. Just remind you of the environment that I'm in. So sometimes I might not be able to make it, but I'm here today and I'm here at the right time. So I'm gonna just say this: everything that the brother just said. There was something that I wrote that amplified that, and I want to share it with you. I say, open your mind frame. See beyond these worldly things. Was manifested in the flesh, was only part of a dream. It's a shame. They got us locked in chains, surrounded by concrete and metal, still trying to achieve our dreams. When you represent the Lord, it's like walking on glass streets. I can see the flames of hell up under my feet. It's fire and brimstones and chattering the teeth because his body's been tormented in the flames that never cease. Open your eyes, realize beauty signs of time. Revelations, prophecies revealed through the hands of mankind. Yes, the rise of the beast was part of God's design. The devil and his angels get cast in the lake of fire. People have to understand that that Iblis did not become a shayateen until he disobeyed the natural order of things, when he went against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he displayed that contempt for him not bowing, when he commanded the angels to bow in Jannah. Mm-hmm. So when we deal with this shaitan, we have to understand that it's the manifestation of an attribute that makes you into what you are. And these people possess that attribute. And Absolutely. Us as believers, we can identify this. To come back into the natural order of things and submit to ourselves, we're not blind no more. Our eyes are open. I never believed in no pale-faced person ever being in charge of nothing. I was taught as a kid, and you guys were as well, that this demon was created by us. He's our offspring that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed the scientists to be able to create, because he said he created everything in pairs. So this is just duality. What the brother was just speaking on that's being manifested right now through my frequency is this. We have to be able to identify our brothers by their gifts and utilize them in the capacity in which they could be the best and to be conducive to the growth and development of the nation as a whole. Sometimes there be unqualified personnel in position of power and the balance be off. So now that we understand through trials and tribulations and the things that we've been through from the past, we've learned what the past has taught us, because we reflect on these things. To come back now and to manifest these things in the realm that we are in is specifically a task that was in charge to us by the master teacher. So for me to consider myself a scientist and I'm not performing my duties and obligations, I'm failing myself and my people in that capacity, because I know what the science that was given to me is supposed to be utilized in, and I'm not performing as an alchemist if I'm not manifesting that.
Right.
It's here for us. It's here. Our frequency through love manifests everything, and the way how we maneuver now on our frequency, we're attracting more to us, but we have to remind ourselves this and reflect on this. Light attracts everything, whether it's insects, bugs, which these could be demonic things, or it could be people who intentions is not tahir. I mean, it is not purified.
Mm-hmm.
So when we see these things, the brother Elijah said that these brothers have a sickness that needs to be healed. And until we can eradicate that sickness of their mind and their heart, they're gonna keep perpetuating and being used as tools of provocation and being used as divisive tools in the form of ancient provocateurs to infiltrate and dismantle what it is that we constructing. Now, I'm
Right.
never a pessimistic person to be like, oh, I don't think this gonna work, because I know what we can do. You either gonna fall in line or get your ass ran over. Excuse my language, Ashimati. But that's really what it is. We gonna bypass you. We not waiting for you, because time is of the essence, and we not on our time. We on God's time. So if you ain't about your father's business, then you not of our fold. And I don't feel bad about leaving somebody stuck on the side of the road where they at if they not on what we own, because trying to reach back and grab people, you're gonna turn to a pillar of salt like White did. He told us what to do. And those that's adhering to this word, we move into that frequency. We dance to the beat of our own drum. Can't nobody tell us nothing about anything that we're doing, because the teachings came through a succession of people who looked like us, not from the knowledge that they propagating that came through somebody else. That's how we know that what we got is the truth. And that's the reason why the things that was manifested through our teachers is still prevalent right here today in the form that it is in its original form. So I
Right.
just wanted to say that because the spirit moved on me for me to speak that. But just to land my spacecraft, I'm gonna land on this. We are the biggest and the greatest threat to the establishment because of the knowledge that we know. They don't
That's
target
right.
us for no other reason. People think that no, they already moved past skin. Now they identify frequency and knowledge. This is the whole reason why they came up with Operation Black Messiah, because they know what we can do when we organize and we all on the same pathway. So the Shaitan is never going to attack you when you're moving crooked, because what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah made straight, no man can make crooked, and what he made crooked, no man can make straight. He said, I will attack the believers where? On the Sirat al-Mustaqim. So as long as we moving on the straight path, we have to be mindful too. And this, when I say we, I'm speaking in I terms.
Right.
I have to be mindful in that aspect of this. I know that the Quran tells us, what do man think he will not be held accountable for the things his hands have sent on before him. So if your intentions is not pure, because we get judged off our niyah. If our intentions is not tahir, then it's going to be corrupted. And the frequency that we on right now is not only straight, but it's pure, and it's based on love. Not just love for ourselves, but love for our people and love for our creator. And I end on that.
That's right. Yes, Jalahu, good teaching. Good teaching. Yes, that is excellent. And that's what we want. That's what we're here to talk about today. Not only educate our people on the reality of not only modern day slavery, but the importance of us preparing ourselves, protecting ourselves, protecting our youth. I know that everyone wants to chime in. I just want to give us more things that we can talk about as we have this discussion. There's so much. That documentary by Ava DuVernay, The 13th Amendment, she outlines the history of the institutionalization of Black people after slavery, because it was a systematic thing. It was not something that happened by happenstance. It wasn't accidental. It was a form of re-enslaving Black people, even after they so-called freed us from slavery. After the emancipation of Black people, and Black people were supposedly given citizenship rights, etc., they passed the 13th Amendment. And the 13th Amendment says neither slavery nor voluntary servitude are acceptable under the law except as punishment for crimes whereof the party shall have been duly convicted shall exist in the United States of America. So involuntary servitude, which is slavery, is only acceptable under the law if you have committed a crime, and they can put you in prison. Thereafter, passing the 13th Amendment, they instituted what is called the Black Codes, mostly in the South, where we know is the biggest concentration of our people. They passed Black Codes, and these were new laws that targeted newly freed Black people with vague crimes such as vagrancy, loitering, unemployment, insulting gestures, and breach of labor contracts. And this, of course, continued with convict leasing. Southern states would lease their prisoners now, overwhelmingly Black men, to private companies. This was supposedly unlike slavery because those companies didn't own the workers. They were being treated as prisoners. And so they, under the law, said that's not slavery, which we know is not true. Like, we have eyes to see, we're not dumb. And so this just continues, and they institute a pathway to mass incarceration of our people. And when they incarcerate our people, of course, they institute slavery, prison labor, prison work for $0. $1 for your labor is absolutely nothing. And so something that is even more interesting, because the devil is unveiling himself in this time that we're living in. They are no longer hiding behind a white hood. They are very forward with their racism, with their hate for Black people, with their hate for Muslims, with their hate for any people of color that have any percentage of melanin in them. They are full face, full fronting, showing their hate. If everyone knows, there was a case of a young rapper. His name was Julio, and he was a rapper and he was murdered. The young men that committed that crime were arrested, charged, and convicted for what they did, and they were facing the death penalty. They, in the sentencing hearing where their lawyers were fighting for them not to get the death penalty and to instead get life in prison, they brought up someone who was going to help them fight for these young men to get life in prison. His name was Raul Bansko. And in his argument, he argued that these young men should not get the death penalty because they're young. And because they're young, what do we have? 35, 40 years of sweat equity. We need that labor. We need that sweat equity, is what he argued to the judge. And so this is very clear. And we're not saying that those young men shouldn't have been held accountable for the fact that they took someone's life. However, the argument being that they should get life so that they can serve this country, so that they can have sweat equity, is what we are seeing as an unveiling of the crimes against our community. And then that relates specifically to how in Louisiana they are now criminalizing homelessness. Something that comes up when we think of them redistricting and removing these Black districts, which is identity, is that they can now target Black people, and Black people have no representation. So they can target you in housing. They can target you with, your income. It opens the line for redlining, and then it makes life more difficult. And now if you fall on hard times, they literally can imprison you. And the law says the first offense is a fine up to $500. Remember, these are homeless people, either $500 or 6 months in prison. Second and subsequent offenses are punishable by $1,000 and a minimum of 1 to 2 years in prison with or without hard labor. And then they have designated camps. Parishes and municipalities are authorized to establish temporary designated camps for unsheltered individuals. And so the law now, again, because we're not new to this, the law now opens the door for them to enslave and also force our people to provide labor to this country. And so this is something that we want to be mindful of, because it is a straight track to prison. And we know that they've been doing this for a long time. How can they give us a straight track to prison? You have to start them young. So they start our young men and our young women young with instituting and conditioning them for behaviors that will eventually lead them to prison. And so this is what we are talking about. Let's see, we have a few things in chat. All right. Black codes. Okay, who was a politician who mentioned the sweat equity? Okay, yes, we mentioned Raul Bansco. Brother Nate said these codes were designed to keep us enslaved plantations and prisons. The warden of Florida Department of Corrections. Inspired to Asha Khan. So the prison population is aged out. The new elders is 65 and under. Raul Bansco was a former prison warden. That is interesting. So I'm going to get some info on that because that's actually very, very interesting. And that is accurate. So we are seeing more and more the unveiling of these people and their diabolical plots. We want to be aware. That's how we start, with awareness. Awareness of what is going on, and then how can we combat this? Of course, we have to educate our people, educate our youth. We have to get in between them and the plot of the devil to condition their minds for behaviors that are unbecoming, and we have to protect our community. There's an all-out plot. There's an all-out attack against our community. Our children go missing at a record rate. Our adults go missing at a record rate. Men and women just going missing. There have been consistent reports of Black people hanging from trees, and we just know, it's just in our heart. We know that Black people, if they commit suicide by hanging, it's not going to be from a tree. So we already know what that is. There is an attack on our people in Africa to reestablish the stronghold of colonialization. These are things that are happening on the daily, and they are doing the same thing here, the same thing in the Caribbean, the same thing in South America, the same thing in Africa. Everywhere they go, they want to reestablish their stronghold. So we have to be educated, and that's why we're talking about this today. So we will open the floor. I see and subscribe, and then Sister Francine, and then Brother Nate. And subscribe. Lisa there.
Yes, just real quick, fam. I know I've been fat mouthing. I'm gonna get a mic up, but real quick, we were researching when the UN, when the United Nations agreed or acknowledged slavery as one of the worst tragedies or travesties in human history, and what that means from a legal standpoint. Really nothing when you have a serpent ruling the globe. The only justice you're gonna get is from the Jesus one himself, the Messiah, the Christ, the great Mahdi. However, we do have a legal basis for these arguments, and we do have to realize that there are jinn who follow the book with mouths hushed. So when we look for beasts bowing down to the one on the throne, when he takes that book, right, in it again and begins to open those seals. And that the type of testimony and formula that we're bringing, the healing formula, actually from the mother of the original mind, that type of formula is what the frequency that they were told to bow down to. So that one that sits on the throne sits on the city of New Jerusalem, which is styled as a mothership or a mother plane or a mother city, where the farther tongue is being delivered, right? The rebirth of mankind, and of course the devils can't be grafted back in. They have to be burned, but they know it's an honor to have served in the manner of perfecting and purifying the original strand of the original beings, those secret society who follow the book with mouths hushed. And so when we understand that from a general context, we have a clip showing the highest church in Scotland, which, if you know about Scotland and the Mother Lodge and the Father Lodges and whatnot, this is really just a kind of like a surface level degree of acknowledgement coming from the Masonic Lodge, apologizing for slavery. But what this means, though, the international bankers, you heard of the international bankers, you heard of the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Rockefellers, Master Wallace D. Fard Muhammad, as the great Mahdi at 6 years old, seen himself pushing them into the lake of fire, right? And so when you understand the work that's being done, when we stand on truth, and bring this healing frequency to the people, those international banks know that they have to relinquish a lot of things. That's part of why it's a secret oath. And when you think of Musa and the work that he did to liberate the white people from the caves, because they go down and kiss the foot of a statue, a black statue of Moses, in their lodges. And so when they are moved to understand that work that was secretly done by Musa to raise the Caucasian into rulership, we put them in rule. We set the 6-day Genesis on them. We called it a Sabbath and said on the 7th day you gonna rest. That day ended in 1914 and ushered in what's called a millennium, or the Aquarian age, 1,000-year reign in which the Christ will rule. So the devil didn't take rule of the earth from the original man overnight, and the original man ain't gonna take it back overnight. But one day with the Lord is stated as 1,000 years in both the Holy Quran and the Bible. And so this millennium, that's what that means, 1,000-year period in which Christ will reign on earth to reestablish the kingdom of the original people. That particular process is in effect when you see this mention of equity. And I just want to read something of how this connects to the bankers. Okay, throughout history, the legal classification of enslaved people as chattel, movable personal property, meant they were routinely used as financial equity. Enslavers leveraged enslaved individuals to secure bank loans, pay off outstanding debts, finance land purchases, and settle legal estates. Using enslaved people as collateral and equity was highly prevalent, particularly in the United States prior to emancipation, not only in the United States, but particularly in the United States prior to emancipation. The mechanics and scope of this practice include collateral for mortgages and business loans. In the 18th and 19th centuries, the Southern plantation economy was largely built on credit. To purchase more land or expand operations, enslavers frequently took out loans from banks in major financial hubs such as New York and London. The process, banks accepted enslaved people as physical collateral for these loans. Think of that. Enslaved individuals were assigned a monetary value alongside real estate and equipment. Defaulting, if a planter defaulted on their loan payment, the bank or financial institution seized the enslaved individuals to recover their losses, subsequently selling them at auction. When an enslaver died, his enslaved people were treated as primary asset to be divided among the heirs and liquidated to pay off deceased outstanding creditors. Local probate courts routinely included slave people on the state. Do you see how these devils, the whole court system, the whole banking system owes us estate inventory alongside livestock, tools, and land. In many cases, families were fractured simply to balance a financial ledger or settle a dispute over financial inheritance. Many prominent modern financial institutions, listen, many prominent modern financial institutions have acknowledged their historical roles in using enslaved people as equity. Historical audits, major banks, including predecessors, JP Morgan, Chase, Citigroup, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, have conducted these audits. Forged operations. Records from the 1800s show the predecessors banks like Citizens Bank and Canal Bank in Louisiana accepted kidnapped Africans and their descendants as mortgage collateral. So we go on all this. All praise due to the Creator, Master Walter C. Farr, Muhammad, Master of the Glorious, Most Honored Elijah, and NCL Muhammad Slack, Allah, Master Jace, Jalahu.
Yes, sir. Jalahu. Good teaching. Good teaching. Yes, Sister Francine. You are muted, Sister Francine.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I have to do a few different changes because I'm on my phone.
Okay.
So I don't know if people know that the governor of California signed into law a bill that could, we used to have laws where somebody could commit you to a mental institution against your will.
Mm.
So he signed it back into law. So it was never, we didn't vote on it or anything. They just went to a committee or something, I don't know, and they signed it into law. It's on the internet. You can see him and a bunch of people, and you see Black people and different multicultural people almost like, portraying it as this is acceptable, So it's
Yeah.
not acceptable because once they get you into the institution, they will, like in the UK, they will be able to uh, force medication, and
Yeah.
or they still do lobotomies in this country. That should have been outlawed a long time ago.
Right.
And that's one of the things they used to do to people in mental institutions here in this country, is um, cut off your amygdala by going through your eye with something that looked like an ice pick and scrambling around that and breaking the connection, so that then you don't have any feelings. Some people just live like zombies. And so this governor who makes it look like he's trying to help people, and I'm picking up that when you look at the movie stars, like Charleston Heston was very racist, but yet he would occasionally make a movie to make him look cool. He would just
Yeah.
kind of mix it up so people would keep that label off of him. And also, I watched the film Nuremberg a couple of times. Uh, the recent film, I think it was a couple of years ago, it came out.
Okay.
The doctor, the psychologist who examined the prisoners and also examined them psychologically was doing a study, and he wrote a book about the situation. And his concern was, well, this sort of mass destruction on people has been done before, genocide. And he said,
Yeah.
well, this is just a trial which we know what the outcome is going to be, is that you're going to find these people guilty, which defies what a real trial is for. A trial is you get to plead your cause and have a chance for being released. But in this case, it was already understood that these prisoners were not going to be released. The first ones they killed by hanging, of all things. And you just kind of wonder, why did they have to be hung? Why couldn't they give them a lethal injection or given a cyanide pill or even put on a firing squad? Why did they? I'm like, what is the significance of hanging them? Why did they have to be hung? And then the thing is, he asked the question, yeah, so this has been done before. Why are they not trying to get to the bottom of stopping the behavior of genocide, period, in society?
Right.
It was nothing. What the Nazis did was nothing new. It had been done before. And so he I watched a documentary about some little island off the coast of the UK where they actually rented it to the Germans, and the archaeologists want to go in and they want to do a dig because they believe there are mass graves there. That the Germans were practicing what the Nazi Party was going to do later, and the people on the island don't want they don't want it because they don't want that kind of attention brought to the island, but they are. In the documentary, it said they're still pushing for it, like for the government to order it or something.
Yeah.
So, and the Black scholars have reported, I've been to lectures where they said, well, when it comes to atrocities and things like, with the Jim Crow and all that, they practice that on their own people already. And the whole thing is it's not something that comes up randomly. They practice it. And that till they get it to a level that they can sell it and execute it or codify it into the law some kind of way. And I realized this week a lot of the racism that I experienced as a court reporter, none of it was ever acceptable.
Right.
I had a license like anybody else. I graduated at the top of my class as a writer, and I realized when it comes to wealth, you cannot let your wealth stand still. You have to move it forward, or it's going to stay still or go backwards. There's something about wealth. So, and knowledge is wealth. So I realized I needed to go back to school and keep upping my profession, maybe even become a lawyer. But for some strange reason, I didn't think I was lawyer material. And but where was that belief system coming from? Because I was
Right.
already in the legal system, performing a very important function. So why couldn't I move to the next level? So there was this righteous white lady that ran a school down there, and she inherited the court reporting school from her mother. So I interviewed with her because I wanted to take the specialized court reporting that would help you write even faster. And I told her what was happening on my job, and she said, "Do you know why they're treating you this way?" And I said, "No, what's your take on it?" She said, "Because they don't want you to make more money."
Yeah.
Bottom line is they didn't want you to become more prosperous. That's why this white lady in Sacramento was throwing her weight around. She said, "It's because," and this was a white woman telling on another white woman, so I consider her kind of righteous, you know. She just cut to the chase. She knew her civil, you know, what civil knew. She spoke from her truth experience, and she said she does not want you to make more money. Bottom line, period. You know, the racism, they have us tricked out about the racism because we're all from a culture, but it's about the money, the economics, and the power, and the benevolent things that we could do with that money and how we could better society. And I just got through going to a tarot reading by this teacher, and I picked up that she was afraid of me. And I was like, why is she afraid of me? She's a teacher. I'm not, you know, I'm not on her level that way. But she kept trying to change the nature of the tarot reading, what my intention was. And I had to stop her and say, look, she actually tried to state what the intention was. And that kind of felt it didn't just feel overbearing, but it felt like she was overlording me, kind of like or overseeing me, you know, like an overseer, and like assigning me something. And I said, I'm paying for this. I didn't say I'm paying for the session. That was already given, but I said, I have decided to choose to have this tarot reading. And I said, I already came with my own intention, and I don't want you to state an intention for me. I'll state my own intention.
Yeah.
And then
definitely.
when I called her out, she got even more, was behaving with more fear. And so I'm sitting with that right now. And I'm like, she actually believed I was better than her. And I had never picked up on that before.
But you are, though. You are better than her, though.
She said, she mentioned my gifts or whatever I'm, you know, and or medicine practice. And I was like, I didn't ask her to do the tarot reading. And I also asked her to do it for something positive, not negative. She tried to turn it into something negative. And I thought, there it is, the very reason why I created my practice with African cultural principles and practices, because they try to keep us at a level of frequency so that we will not evolve into our rite of passage. Because people think you go to somebody like a special person, and an African medicine woman from Burkina Faso, I talked to her about that. I said, do you need to go to somebody special, or can it happen, you know, like, can the divine just create the circumstances? And she said, absolutely. She said, you don't need to go to a special person. So that's why I advocate prayer meditation. You know, everything you do, you need to encapsulate it with prayer meditation, because the divine will always do for us what seems to be the impossible. It'll find a way through whatever seems to be impossible. And so that's all I have to say is, you know, keep going up in your education, because that's why I was at the last meeting. I said, I decided to take a paralegal course, online paralegal course. There are a lot of them, and a lot of them are tied to universities. So when you get certified or licensed, however they handle it, you work out of an attorney's office. And I just realized what I'm doing is I'm heading myself toward a legal profession, but like working with attorneys, that will give me more connection. And then I'll know from there whether I want to go all the way and become an attorney.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, Sister Francine. That's a thing, the jealousy. So many of our people experience it, and they're just not able to really identify and articulate that these people are jealous of us. Remember, whenever Black people excel, like the ice skater, I think her name is Soraya, and she did the one-legged backflip in the ice skating in 1990s. They banned it after she successfully did it, and they actually fined her for the move that she did. And recently they unbanned the move and
Ah.
championed a white man who was able to do it. And so it's a lot of it has to do with jealousy in regards to the policies that they institute and the vitriol that we see all over the internet for our people. Okay, yes, Brother Nate, I see your hand up.
Okay, so I'm gonna go backwards. Sister Mama Francine, this is for you. These crackers know that you as a melanated goddess, right? Y'all got black girl magic, like real halal black girl magic. And I ain't talking about the magic that Harut and Maru taught men. These people could see who and what you are even when you can't recognize it yourself. The ancestors already told you what you need to do. You're a healer, you're a voice advocate. So yeah, you are meant to be a lawyer. And she wasn't jealous, she was envious. See, that's a higher level of hatred because she's looking at it like, how is it that this lady can manifest this naturally and I may have more money or more education than her? See, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his mercy in his love for us, he do this. He has sent a demon to push us for us to be better and manifest something that he wants for us to do. It's a sign. And when we in tune with it, we recognize it for what it really is because we can see the frequency because our spiritual eyes and spiritual ears are open to these things. And we understand that, like it says in Ephesians, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places. These people possess those attributes of the Shayateen, and they are of him and his prodigy. That's number one. You on the right path, stay to what you're doing. And the fact that you even tapped into the motherland to go back to that original frequency, you are on the path to where you need to be at, and don't let nothing detour you off of that. Secondly, Sister Esseril, when you was just speaking, right? I'll be mindful now to don't be long-winded like Obama, but I wanted eyewitness version of what you were speaking. Let me show you how crooked these crackers is. Watch this. So in 1865, when they quote unquote freed us as prisoners of war, right? During the Reconstruction period, they used what was called black hole statutes. Black hole statutes was laws that was created specifically to fall in line with that 13th Amendment under a voluntary servitude to put us back in prison, right? From what you just read, the whole time while you were talking, I was getting signs in my mind, and I was getting downloads. They creating concentration camps now. The homeless is supposed to be our focal point as far as, excuse me, that's what our 2.5% of our yearly earnings is supposed to go towards. Orphans, elderly, and homeless. How is it that we live in a multi-billion-dollar corporation and these people don't have things for that? Pac said it best. You got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. How is it that we don't have whole institutions that's created for these? It ain't supposed to never be no homeless with all the money you suckers got in Fort Knox that belong to the indigenous people with this landmass. How are you singing on this demonic dollar that you got in God we trust, but you not doing godly things? And you wonder why the people rebel and go against the establishment. But watch how crooked they is, though. They turn prisons into modern day plantations, and they do this. They tax you as a taxpayer, right, to fund these institutions. And then this is what they crooked ass do. They bid on our certificate of bond debt, which is an abstracted judgment that lawfully confines you to a prison concentration camp, and then they bid on it on the stock market. The people who built these prisons, I hope people understand and know that they're descendants of slave masters.
Absolutely.
And the slave masters was the ones that got restitution for they lost slaves after they were freed. People don't know that though.
Yeah.
So right now today, not only is they double dipping, but you what you doing is you taking the people who are free in this world, taxing them, and then you turn around after you tax them, you bid on bonds for these people that's in prison on the stock market, and you get paid for that, and it goes to judges, DAs, and to the private prisons that they have. One of the reasons why they wanted to take away the private prisons is because by them stripping private prisons of the ability to make decisions in people that's incarcerated lives, that money wasn't going to the state. So by it not being able to go to the state, it was going directly into the hands of the people who constructed these buildings. So the new wardens, the wardens is the new slave masters of these modern day plantation and human warehouses that they could find in our people in. This is the things that the taxpayer is not knowing, because they thinking like, okay, well, this is part of the Public Safety Act. And this is where institutions like Buku come in at. If the law says that a person can only be confined under involuntary servitude, that means they can house you until you fulfill your debt. The debt ain't the time that you are serving. It's a monetary value that they placed on you. And after that, that's why some people, when they go up for parole, they get denied for frivolous things because they debt ain't fully paid. So where places like Buku coming at is this: if the law says that this is a public safety matter, right? The public safety matter should be decided by the people who it affects, which is the public. So we should have community resource release boards. We should have community boards for release, because the community should have a say so in who's being released back into society. Because now, number one, they have a bird's eye view of the things that affect it. And you can go into these boards and go lie and act like you this and that, but the community is the ones who see you when the slave master ain't seeing you, and they gonna know if you're ready or not. That's one thing that you can't do. You can't lie to the masses, because what you do behind closed doors, it always gonna be revealed in the light. So whatever you're doing in darkness, and once the light gets shined on you, it's gonna always show who you really are and what you really are. And once our people understand that the monetary value that they placing on human lives is money that they're embezzling and siphoning from accounts that made us slaves in the first place after 1912, when it was mandated that people was to have birth certificates. That birth certificate is a certificate of bond debt. So by you being in these institutions, and you have a certificate of bond debt, which is now your abstracted judgment, that automatically makes you a legal slave until you fulfill your obligation, which is either your time or the monetary value that they placed on you. This is why people get kicked out early from early releases. Everything that we do in society from this corporation has a price tag on it. But if a person if you're not status corrected and you're not able to go into these institutions and identify yourself as a natural breathing entity, then you're just subject to be viewed under your name in all capitals, which makes you part of this corporation because you haven't separated yourself from that. And when you correct your status, it puts you back into the natural law, which is the law of man, which is the laws that came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The oldest treaty that's here in America was created by Muslims. And until we enact these treaties and force these people to recognize them, we're going to still be subjected to everything that they do to us. So it's more than just it's more than us just speaking on certain aspects of how it needs to be done. It's not how, it's what needs to be done. Us taking control over our people from a nationalist standpoint, meaning under the Deen, is how we enforce these people to recognize us and our autonomous. Our autonomy is everything to us, because now we are a naturalized person, and people have to really do that. When you read the Blackstone's Law, it tells you exactly what's the difference between a nationalized person and a person who's a fictitious entity under the law. And by people identifying themselves as being black, it automatically triggers a black code statute, which is civil mortuus, meaning that you're civilly unalived in the law or civilly dead. You have no legal standing. So this is the reason how a person who does not have a nation or under his religious banner, he has no rights. He has no rights. And our rights as humans are in these treaties that was constructed by our ancestors, and we ain't manifesting and pushing what is false for our jurisdiction to be recognized by these crackers, and that's why they keep doing what they doing to us. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, wa alaikum salam. Thank you. Good teaching. Good teaching. We're going to keep the floor open for more input as we prepare to land this ship. But that is good teaching. I think that as Buku builds Buku University, which we're building the educational system, I think that's going to be a great foundation for us with those type of community boards. And a community board such as that could benefit our community on so many levels, with the juvenile system, the prison system, but also just, things going on in our community. How can we distribute funds that are set aside for our community? And as we prepare our way out of this fallen country, another thing that's so important is the King Alfred Plan forewarns us of these concentration camps and the tactics that these devils will use to not only strive to fight God and his freeing of his people, but to hold Black people as basically like a shield and armor against God, like, hold us up as they are being targeted. And so they will institute these concentration camps, and they are establishing the infrastructure to house millions and millions of people with the ICE programs. Remember, ICE has been buying warehouses all across the country. Well, once they deport all the immigrants, what do you need those warehouses for, other than your plan to house millions and millions of people in this time? And the King Alfred Plan mentions that, and now they are instituting the infrastructure to criminalize homelessness in one state. Is just a test run for them to institute laws such as that across the country. And we're seeing them institute more and more illegal racist laws to be able to commit someone to a mental institution against their will. With what authority, on what case, on what grounds? These are things that we have to be mindful of, so that as we prepare ourselves to establish our own communities, our own boards, our own safe havens, and prepare our way out of this fallen country, because we also see the tentacles of civil war. The white people are not happy with the other white people. So when they get to fight amongst one another, that's also going to be a problem. So we are going to be establishing these things, and I think a community board is one of the first that we should begin working on. Yes.
Sister, listen, real quick. What you just said, right? Guess how they implementing the forced medication aspect there? They actually have a law for it in prison. Guess what it's called?
What?
It's called Kahia. So what they would do is this: they would have an officer write up something fictitious saying that you either a threat to yourself or to others, get a court order, and then they force medicate you, right? The forced medication aspect of that opens up the door for them to prolong that. And when you was just speaking on, I think it was the sister who said it. So when they separate your synapses, right? What they was really trying to do was to separate your mind from being able to have projection and manifestation. So they know exactly what you can do with your brain when your mind, your spirit, and your heart is all in line with each other. They already been studying us. That's the reason why they frivolously take DNA from us in our blood. They already have this mapped out. So they know that the fulfillment of prophecy is upon us. And people is not paying attention to the signs that's being revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I just wanted to add that part to you. The Kahia was the one that opened up the gate for that.
Yes, good teaching. Good teaching. Yes, Brother Shabbat.
Yes, I want to take a step back for a moment. When the brother was speaking earlier about forced ownership and all of that of our own being and our land and everything, is one of the things we must do is get the birth certificate back away from them, because what our parents didn't know back in the past, when you your child is born and you sign that birth certificate, you're signing them over to the state. That's why they say you awarded a state because of that birth certificate. It takes you back to there. And that's how they put us on the stock market. That's how they trade other countries with us. It's still the same thing with brother said earlier about the stock market with the slave masters when they didn't have money and they died and they used the slaves to pay off debt and stuff like that. It's the stock market. You look at your social security number, all the letters, it's capital letters. That's how it is. That's why it's like that. And the writings and numbers and all that. It's just like the concentration camps. It was with numbers. The prison system is with numbers. Okay, and
Yeah.
it goes back. And a lot of people think the Holocaust was the first. No, the first Holocaust was in Africa. The Russians started
Absolutely.
it over there. That was their training ground. Then they
Mm-hmm.
went to their own peoples, and then they went to the Jews and the black Jews and the Asian Jews that's over there. But the Jews of the United States over in this wilderness, they won't admit that they wasn't the only peoples in the Holocaust. They won't say that it was blacks and Asians.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because now they're participating in the Holocaust that's going on now in the United States.
Absolutely.
So that's why they're the top participants to say blacks shouldn't constantly bring up slavery. Why? You bring up the Holocaust every time, and you say so it don't happen again. Okay, that's why we mentioned not so it won't happen again, because we're not going to allow it to happen again. And this is what we must stay pushing for,
That's
because
right.
they stripping us of the rights they think they gave us, but we must take back the rights that Allah gave us. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Yes,
Hey,
good
got to
teaching.
say something. I got to
Yes.
say something.
Yes, Uncle Ed.
I was trying to get out of here, but y'all got me here. Let me tell y'all this. We went to get our real IDs in April around the deadline, I think.
Okay.
I got through fine, no problem. My mom still cannot get her real ID. Now, let me tell you why. She was born in Shreveport, Louisiana,
My grandfather too. Yep.
January 4th, 1941.
Mm-hmm.
She was home birth. So
Like
there's
many of our
no,
children were back then.
right, there's no record of her being born. We went to DMV and I was in rare form as my comic self. So the ladies were really trying to help us. They gave me a page with all the capitals of every state. Supposedly, they have your birth records. Now, I called New Orleans and they looked it up. Okay, yeah, we'll look it up. We'll get back to you. But that's going to be $62 because we need to ship it UPS. And, I'm excited. I'm like, thank God. So I sent the money. The 10-day grace period came. I'm like, well, maybe I'll wait 10 more days. 10 more days came. So I called them back. Yeah, we're having trouble finding it. It'll be coming soon. I'm like, so wait a minute. Can I get my money back until y'all ready to send it? Oh, we got it. Don't worry, Mr. Cleveland. So then a month went by and I called again. And I'm like, hi, this is Heston Cleveland, son of Carrie Cleveland. Oh, we can't talk to you. We have to talk to your mom. I'm like, y'all been talking to me all this time. Y'all took the money from me. I still have not gotten my monies or any birth certificate. They say they can't find it. There's no record of her being born. Now she has a passport, but it expired and the date is wrong. It says April 4th, 41. So they punishing us. She's an American citizen, and there's no proof of her even existing, being born, but she got a
Mm,
California ID.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is. That's the same with my grandfather. He was born in Louisiana also.
Mhm.
And there's something with he didn't have a birth certificate, something like that. And that's created some problems just over the years. But I think that it's something interesting that in that time, because of our distrust of the government, many of our families had home birth. And we've become very comfortable here. And I think that that's one of the reasons why the Voting Rights Act is gutted. That's the savior, making us do for self, making us go back to that point where we would come together for community and not rely so heavily on this government. We have to break those ties. Because we didn't trust this government, we didn't trust their hospitals, we didn't trust their police, period, point blank. And since we began becoming so comfortable, you have to remember that Black women are dying at a record rate giving birth here in the United States and in the UK and in Africa because there's an attack on our community. So these things are very important, and that's why people like Answer Africa, Sister Francine, are so important because this is happening. And that birth certificate situation is also another one. But we, with Mama Carrie not having a birth certificate and still living sweet, we know that it's possible. Okay, and I
I wanted
saw
to say
Sister
my mother.
Shahida. Oh, go ahead, Sister Francine. Then we'll go to Sister Shahida. I thought I saw her hand up.
Yeah, my mother was home birth too, and her uncle in Texas. They have a lot of the school records. There are places where you go to the school and find those records, and those can be patched together to help with with paperwork. And the other thing I wanted to say is, well, the Mormons are really good at this. You know, they're into keeping information about people's genealogy and stuff and histories. So I would check with them and
You
try to
know
get
what,
some
sis?
advice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know what? We did that. We tried that before. We went down to the office to get her school records.
Hmm. And they didn't have anything.
You know what? No, she needs her mama, which has been dead for 30, 40 years, to be able to access her.
That's crazy.
That's what.
Yes.
Yeah,
That doesn't
my
make any
my
sense.
mother's uncle signed an affidavit for my mother, and that's how they were able to get her birth certificate. And they used
Yeah,
her
but
school records. But yeah, in Texas, I know what you're talking about. In Texas, when my mother's property was going to be designated in my name when she dies, I suddenly realized, based on their rules, that you have to wait additional years, like something like 10 years in Texas. I don't know what it is, but if it's an immediate family member, so I had her sign the papers so I could get everybody's birth certificates and whatever I could find, because when she dies, then we might have to wait. We'd have to wait, and there's no reason for it, really.
Yeah.
They just made up these
Uncle
rules.
Hess. Uncle Hess, you hear me?
yeah.
So look, what you do is this. If you got an old family Bible that recorded your mama birth in there, that's a legal document and it's binding. Secondly, is if your mom was baptized when she was a child, that church record of her baptism, it established her birth.
Mm.
Those two things that's just what I wanted to add to you. But I got your number. We're gonna have on the one-on-one. I don't want to take up too much SRL time though.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, family.
You're welcome, brother.
One
That's
other thing, excuse me, Uncle Hess. I don't know how much you feel about the new ID, but that's the ID. I wouldn't get one myself. It's more of a tracking code for when you travel and everything. You don't need it to travel. They just said you do, but you don't. Because I didn't travel without it since they put that in order. But that was a new order Trump came up with for tracking. That's how I see it. May I be right or wrong, but that's how I see it. Because you don't need it to
Yeah.
travel. They just need to keep up with us even more so, because a lot of people were starting to leave the country. So they needed another piece
Mhm.
of document to make you jump through hoops, and they can keep up with tracking the IDs more than they can the passports, because there's
Yep.
less paperwork.
Yeah,
But
they
in
Yeah.
that's just like them free phones they was giving out.
Yeah.
Yep.
but in
Everything.
California, it's going to be the law. You're going to have one of those things.
Mm.
So they told everybody ahead of time. But there was a big sign when they first started doing it in the DMV telling people, don't fraudulently fill out these papers. Otherwise it could be used against you, when it comes to immigration and stuff. So that was kind of
Yeah,
creepy.
perjury.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what they have been using to deny people
Mhm.
their green cards or deny them, application for citizenship, and also to justify deportation.
Yes. And the real ID is not a form of identification. You can't use it to prove that you're a citizen, which is pretty ridiculous because you have to prove that you're a citizen to get the real ID. But we can talk about that next
Another
week. I see
topic.
and
Okay.
subscribe. Yeah, I see and
Hey, we
subscribe with his
running
hand up.
way over.
And scribe. And subscribe. That.
Trying to unmute.
Okay. Okay, we hear you.
I was trying to unmute. Yo, just wanted to say real quick. The sister had mentioned the Mormon Temple. You know that Mormon Temple up here. But I remember some of the brothers speaking about. We had some fantastic exploration of the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding as we grew. A lot of the brothers became fascinated with the Masons. And
Yeah.
different branch theologies that connect to the groom theology. We were just typing something, it kept disappearing, but this JTI RBG Buku unified theology formula, it comes direct from the Christ, from the Messiah, from the Mahdi, filtering it to the people, putting it in a language they can understand, and gathering up all of the evidence on the people's level. It's 12 springs. Each tribe knew which one to drink from. All water seek its own level. So you have to know the language of the brides. You have to put the knowledge into the language that the people can understand, and then they could see their way up the ladder. The Holy Quran mentioned a day in which the angels, they come a day, the measure of which is 50,000 years. That matches what our messenger teaches us, that the scientists write history 25,000 years in advance in 2 parts, which is 50,000 years. And so, and everything, absolutely everything got to come to pass in the 50. This is why God says in the Bible, I plan to end from the beginning and from the ancient time, things that are not yet done, saying my counsel shall stand. Daniel was able to see that in the Bible, and he said, God rules in the heavens and in the earth. Who could stay his hand? So when we look at Masons, secret society, all of these things, you know what I mean? And all of it just culminates right on up to that registry, that Lamb's Book of Life, and being registered in the Nation of Islam Mosque. Everything else has a place. Everything fits like a puzzle. And when you see the brothers and their fascination, I remember brothers, man, you got that secret Mason knowledge. They was more into the Mason knowledge than they was into the 5 books of Elijah, into the whole Bible, into the Muhammad lessons. They was going crazy over the Mason knowledge because it was amazing in them to see white people bound down to the Mahdi. And it was like, don't get swept off your feet because no white boy bow down to the Mahdi. That's child's play for the Mahdi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bow down to the Mahdi, great. Give him 2 hand claps, man. Fall in line. Better do what the Mahdi say for your sake. But I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not thrilled about. I'm full-fledged ahead, keeping my eye on the great Mahdi, the Messiah, and the Christ and his pure, unadulterated path for salvation and how to translate that to my people. You know what I'm saying? But it's good that you submit. You better submit if you knew what's good for you.
Right.
But that's the way that we look at these secret societies and what they do. And they do have some funding to release to us. The messenger never broke neck, bending over backwards to get no reparations for no white folks. He said, you owe us, you need to give us 20 years sustenance in a land of our own, give us a couple of these states. If you don't do it, that's your ass. But as far as me and my people, Allah is sufficient for us. You know what I'm saying? And so, however, somebody got to fight that battle. Somebody got to go and fight them battles in the court. Somebody got to take that thing to the United Nations. And some of the brothers used to go to the Mormon Temple, and they had a teaching. They said, man, if you go up to that Mormon Temple right there in Oakland, Y'all know right there in Oakland, we always been fascinated by that Mormon temple. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
Always said ever since we grew up, like, what the hell is that? And the brother said, man, you go in there and you tell him I'm with Mr. Tyler. You know, and you study the Masonic knowledge, they have a thing called a Tyler. You know what I mean? Tell them you with the Tyler and they'll release all the slave records. You know, these white folks got slave records of the particular ships and where they docked, whether it was Virginia, Charleston, Jamestown, or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? And you could trace your birthright. And then by that, you could tap into the funds that they owe you. You know what I'm saying? And brother, that was money related. You know what I'm saying? They would place that and run up there to the Mormon lodge, some of the Tyler, you know, white folks looking at them like, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? However, it's some truth to all that, but it's not on that we was looking at it in that adolescent field. Anytime we think that that our salvation is based on us petitioning a white person to do for us what we could do for ourselves, we got our pride. But they do have to do that. But that shouldn't be our primary concern. Right. And just because it ain't your primary concern, don't mean it ain't a concern. You should have, if you are elder and you a scientist, you should have something for all that. Like our beloved brother Nate was saying, you know, the scientist is building. We're not just talking in Fat Mountain. We build it. But when we do speak, we speak a word in season to try to plant some seeds in the head of our people so they could get on board and help out. You know, so Sajalu and Assalamu alaikum to the good, the greatest master plan.
Sajalallahu alaikum salam to the greatest master plan. Good teaching. Okay, I thought I saw Sister Shahida with her hand up. Sister Shahida, did you want to speak?
Yes, yes, ma'am. They really covered it on it. I was really gonna say something about, and I know they were talking about birth certificates. I was gonna hit on home birth and how you can dodge those birth certificates by having, doing home birth. And then he said he was gonna speak to Uncle Hess about how to, handle everything with that. So yeah, everybody pretty much covered it. But I'm saying and you were speaking on the, giving birth at the hospital and things like that. I don't know if y'all heard about what they just did to Tatiana Ali. They did her real wrong. Like her baby, she was in her labor, she was crowning, meaning the baby was dang near, about to be out. They pushed the baby back in her and made her have a C-section against her wishes.
Yeah, they've been doing that for C-section.
That's more money. They make more money.
Yeah, they make more money. And mind you, I'm in the medical field. I worked at OBGYN clinic. Okay, and I even had some patients ask me, the doctor just straight up just went straight to C-section. Didn't even really have that much discretion to even try to make it cute and maybe you should know. She just straight up you do a C-section, and then it came to me what should I'm like, look, I'm not gonna tell what to do, but since you asked me, you should, go the natural route. The C-section was made to be emergency. Emergency. It's not a luxury or let's pick. You know what I mean? So it's I've witnessed it too. Just I can also bear witness about their birth rate going down, because I'm not exaggerating. I did not see one white woman come in that OBGYN clinic. I seen black, I see Hispanic, I see Asian. I have seen not one white woman.
The poor community. It's the poor community. The rich white people go to the private doctor.
No, this was a private doctor I was working for. And I'm saying their birth rate is down. It's not just
their numbers are falling.
The nation saying, we are in that time. But I'm gonna yield the floor. I just wanted to say.
Yes, no,
but
that's
her not having
true.
a birth certificate, that's a blessing in disguise. That's not a bad
Really, no, that's 100% true. And they've been doing that, these 4 C-sections. And I think, childbirth is already extremely sensitive. It's very invasive. It's, it's the time when the mother and child are very close to death as far as the heart rate dropping. So it's already a very difficult time, but they're striving to force Black women specifically into these C-sections. And if no one knows, during a C-section, they take your organs out of your body. They open the woman up, put her organs on the side table, and then cut the baby out, and then they got to put the organs
Yeah.
back in. And all of that is an experiment because they don't know exactly what they're doing. So
Yes.
it's supposed to just be for emergencies. However, there are documented cases of them forcing Black women into C-sections. A doctor literally, while a Black woman was in labor, took her to court on Zoom for the judge to force her to have a C-section when she didn't want one. So childbirth, having our own nurses, our own doctors who are educated and know what to do, and people who can advocate for us are very important. But we're being attacked on every single level. And this is what we want to talk about. We want to open up. We want to educate our people because our people do not know this. Like, some people think that because we're talking about it here, that the common Black person that's walking down the street are aware of these things. They are not. For the most part, they keep our people so bogged down with the day-to-day struggles of paying rent, taking care of your children, listening to music. Like, there's too much, so our people don't know. And that's where Buku comes in. We want to educate our people so that they know exactly what is going on in this country and abroad, to our people who look like us, and to other people, because there was just a mosque attack. Palestine is still genocide in Palestine. They are doing this attack in South America. Like, this is going on everywhere, and we want to be aware of all of it. And
Sister, do
so,
you know
yes,
where the
go
name
ahead.
of that where the name of that procedure came from?
No.
So the Caesarean was Cleopatra and Mark Antony's son, the one who was the heir to the Egyptian and Roman Empire, that when they unalived them, they took him into seclusion. So that was a fulfillment of prophecy. That procedure was named after him, but it was they wanted it to be done on Black women because while the child was being born, when it's not done the right way, they can unalive that baby.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, that is true. Thank you, Brother Nate. That is absolutely true.
And as
so,
well, they allow them to clip the umbilical cord a lot sooner. When a baby is born naturally,
Yes.
the umbilical cord should remain connected to the mother for at least 5 to 10 minutes afterwards. That way, the baby can continue getting more after it takes its first breath of air.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, there's more of the mindset, for the oxygen is something else that I'm not a doctor, so I can't go deep into it, but I know that part about it. In the cesarean sections, as soon as the baby is out, they put a clamp on the umbilical cord and clip it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they do. Yes, good teaching. Okay, so we've had a great conversation today. We're going to continue this. I think next week we can discuss this settlement that Trump just got with the IRS. It's a $1.7 billion anti-weaponization fund settlement with the IRS. It is a provision that it's not $1.8 million to Trump specifically, but it's to a fund for this anti-weaponization, lawsuits that may come against the IRS. In this settlement, the IRS agrees not to reopen or pursue any tax matters against Trump, his family, or related businesses, which is hilarious.
Hey, answer. I got
Yes.
Tone on the phone. I'll tap
Oh, you
in.
mean?
I'm about to hang up.
Yeah. Call him. Call and subscribe.
Hey.
I'm gonna mute you.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. All right, so we'll talk about that fund. It already, let me see, where's that part I've seen? The funds don't go to Trump specifically, but it does go to a fund that people can sue towards for unjust targeting, like targeted actions by the IRS. And so it's already slated for those who were arrested during the January 6th riot to, sue the government for being targeted after their terrorist attack on the Capitol. As well, it as well, the government has to apologize to Trump. So this is an interesting, very, very interesting settlement that Trump just got, and it's $1.8 billion. It's just more proof that this government is for themselves. They do not care about the poor. They don't care about Black people. They don't care about any of that. They established these institutions for the rich and the white. And that's how they want the world to be. And this is not going to work. But that is, we can talk about that next week. We are so thankful to have had our family on the line with us today. We are here every Tuesday. Let's talk a little bit about the events we have coming up. June the 6th, we will be hosting an event. It's going to be a vendor mixer with our vendors that we're going to invite to our flagship event, which is going to be July the 18th. We're going to be on 98th in Oakland, California at 144,000 Elect Foundation. So we'll be inviting some vendors. Of course, everyone here is, of course, going to be a vendor. So if you want to present something or perform or just be a vendor at the event, we definitely want you there. We want to partner with your organizations as well. So if you want to partner with us for the July 18th event, which is going to be hosted at Boss, then please get in contact with us. We are going to be discussing the 12 jewels, how we want to do the 12 jewel workshops on July 18th, as well as how we want to do the performances, just everything. And we're going to be coming together on June, I said the 6th, it's actually going to be June the 7th. And so prayerfully, you all can be there with us and can be there with us also on July the 18th. This is with the Black Cultural Zone grant. So we will prayerfully be partnering with Black Cultural Zone and other grant awardees for the 40 by 40 grant. And so prayerfully, we want impact on our community on July the 18th. And that's why we're doing the June 7th event. So everyone, please keep that in mind. Mark your calendars, and I will be reaching out to everyone. Other than that, we will have our grant meeting tomorrow. We can discuss more about what each of you can possibly do or help with, because we have just a short time before June the 7th and actually a short time before July the 18th. So if you want to assist us in any way, we take volunteers. And as well, we have a lot of things to do. Brother Shabai and I have to file some 990 forms. We have to also file our state forms, and we also prayerfully can have the breast cancer awareness promotion at the July 18th event as well. So we have a lot of work to do, and we pray that everyone is there with us. We're going to land this beautiful ship. We're thankful to you all once again for joining us today. We are here every single Tuesday. So if you have any time, any Tuesday, just join us. We prayerfully will have thought-provoking conversations and learn a little bit of something and prepare something for our events and our other meetings. We also have our music meetings on Mondays at 10 a.m. So everyone, if you do music, then that's the line to be on. And yeah, Buku is going global. So that's our goal this year, is not only the establishment of all of our programs, but establishing Buku on the global scale. So we're going to remain open in the name of the one true God. We know him by many names. We thank him for coming to us through our time, for sending us his prophets. We thank him for Moses in the Torah, for Jesus in the gospel, for Prophet Muhammad in the Holy Quran. We thank him for preparing the liberators that came to us, prioritize our community, like Marcus Garvey and Noble Drew Ali. We can never thank him enough for coming in the person of Master Wallace D. Farad Muhammad, raising and sending us his messenger, the glorious Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They're raising other national representative, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, and their return in and through the Royal Robe and Remote Control Unit, Ansar Muhammad, the Select One, the Allah Master J-Man. We're thankful for this program of Buku, for all of our amazing members, for the work that you do, for what we are learning from each of you, what we're learning from one another, and what we are building, this unifying theology that we can see here. I know that we have on the line Muslims, we have within Buku Christians, we have nationalists, we have Hebrew Israelites. This is something that is very important, and the world needs to see how we can come together and unify for the mission of liberating our people. And so with that, family, we'll say Sajadallahu, Assalamu alaikum, Buku, Black love, Black unity, Ashe. Have an amazing day. Try to get some sun, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Assalamu alaikum. Sis. You
Walaikum
had my
salam.
you had my camera on mute.
Oh, I do? Oh, wait, see if you can turn it on. I don't know what I did.
Okay,
Okay,
there
there
you
you
go
go.
now.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay,
Alright, I
Assalamu
thought it
alaikum,
was something I
family.
did. Walaikum assalam. See you tomorrow at
See you
1 or
tomorrow.
2.
At 2. At 2.
Okay.
Okay.
See
Assalamu
you at
alaikum.
2.
Okay.
Walaikum assalam.
Recording